Master Tinguinha. I'm gonna call you Master because I was yeah, Master. You know, because like for me, I always look up to you guys. You know, I was like a kid and like you guys were like these black belts, like champions. You know, so I always like really like look up to you guys, all the guys, the original, like Gracie, you know, Gym and Baja. You know, so man, thanks so much for coming up.
No, it's my pleasure.
You know, Tinguinha is like a nickname. Your real name is Mauricio.
Mariano.
Yeah. People, some of the guys, I don't even know their names, right? Because I just know the nicknames.
I know some people in Brazil for 30 years. I don't know the name.
Right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. So, yeah, thanks so much. It's such a big honor to talk with
pleasure.
you and just talk about some of the history because, you know, you're one of the first guys to teach jiu-jitsu, like, I think in Orange County, like, right?
From Gracie Barra.
From Gracie Barra, you were the first one.
Yes.
Because I sent one of my Grant Collins to train with you, and you were the representative. Yeah.
Yes. And I think from Gracie Barra, I think the first guy leave from Brazil to US was Eduardo Velho to Florida. And I was the second guy when I came. Right.
Second guy.
Yeah. Back in 2000.
He was East Coast. You were West Coast.
Yes, exactly. I think Velho left in, I don't know, 98, something like this. A little bit closer. Yeah. It's good. 1998, maybe 2 years before. And then I left. When I left, I was in 2000. I don't know if you remember Fernando Vasconcelos.
Of course, yeah, of course.
Yeah, Fernandinho. So he
closed the World Championship with Gordinho.
Exactly,
yeah.
Yes. That was, I think he did a final with Jamelon, something like this. But he won the World Championship probably in 1998 or 99, something like that.
Yeah, 98.
So he was going back to school, and I know Fernando won since we were yellow belt, white belt, right? So he texted me and sent him, you know, call me back. The time there was no text message, I believe.
No cell phones, no WhatsApp,
so
whatever he contacted. Nextel, right?
Yeah. So he contacted me and hey, you know, like I want you know, I'm thinking about to go back to school. I need some help in my school. He had a school in South Bay. And he
was with the Machados.
Yeah,
right?
he was sitting with Bob Bass.
Yeah.
Yes, but Ryan, he was in a transition to open his own school, and Bob Bass still have his school. So Fernandinho left to open his school in Hermosa Beach, and then he called me, and because he was going back to school, he needs some help. We're like, all right, you know, it sounds good. I'll come to help you and learn some English, and then that's my beginning here. Yes, yeah.
Wow. Where's Fernandinho these days?
So Fernandinho, he's a police officer now.
Oh, wow. Here in L.A.?
No, I don't think it's L.A. I think in Riverside.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, someplace in Riverside.
But in California.
Yeah, and then I heard he was part of the SWAT team, something like that. That was
those guys better watch out.
Yes,
huh?
I heard he got married. His wife, I think it was the whole family was, you know, the history of the police, stuff like that. And I think that's how he
got into it. Interesting. Wow. And so I want to go back into time. I always love to hear the origins, you know, like you grew up in Baja, Tijuca.
Yes, sir.
And what was your entry into jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
So for people who don't know, Barra da Tijuca is a neighborhood in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And most of the people, like Barra was, the beginning of Barra was nothing. It was a beach place, but it was just something starting, right? So there was not many people living in Barra. So most of the people for my age, they moving from some place to Barra, right? Because Barra was just the beginning. So I moved to Barra in 1985, something like this. Yeah, something like this. So it's nothing there, like compared to what is now.
Right.
Then I went there. I lived 2 blocks from Gracie Barra School, which was not Gracie Barra, was still a Gracie school.
Right.
And my brother, I was already training judo. And then my brother would start training jiu-jitsu at Gracie school. I started training with Pitoco for in fight. And Draculino was that too. So because we have a Quebra-Mar, right? It's a place where Renzo hang out, Gordo. And then you have the next spot on the beach, Postinho. That was where I live in front. That was me and Gordinho, Ryan Gracie. So all the people hang out over there. Pitoco was one of the guys friend of Renzo, but he was a purple belt, and he has his own place in teaching class. So everybody, like the friends, start training at this place. And it was just Pitoco JiuJitsu, what's his nickname, and we start training at this place. And then at some point, the Culino left to train in Gracie Barra, because Pitoco was just a purple belt. He was the guy who knew jiu-jitsu, and like, I teach you guys jiu-jitsu, right? So we start training, a bunch of kids training there. And then the Culino left to Gracie Barra. Some guys start training because Pitoco was a purple belt under Jacaré from Alliance.
Okay.
So some guys start training direct with the guys from Alliance. We are in Barra. So slowly we did the transition to Gracie Barra school.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Were there, because I remember I talked to Lord Irvin, there were a lot of kids. He had a kids program?
So.
Or that was later?
That was later, yeah.
How old were you when you started?
So I was 11 years old.
Okay,
11,
so you were one of the kids.
Yes, I was one of the kids. Yes.
Yes.
But the thing is, like, once I started training, there was no kids class at Pitoco's place because it was just a place where people come in, right? Once I moved to Gracie Barra, I was already training in adult class, but I was 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
So I never had a chance to train in the kids on the kids class. But in Gracie Academy, Zé Beleza was the one running the kids program. Márcio Feitosa came from the kids program. Gordinho, all those guys, they train in the kids class with Zé Beleza.
And he would come to the Gracie Academy in Baja?
No.
You guys would go to Leblon?
Zé Beleza was original training teaching at Gracie Barra School.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, with the time, he left and opened his own school.
In Leblon.
But for a long time, because Carlinho was teaching the adult class, and all the kids go to Zé Beleza. So he was the guy. So a lot of the kids, Márcio, Gordinho, a lot of people that training at that time went to Zé Beleza. So he was the kids. And then the transition, you go to Carlinhos.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so you guys, as you became teenagers, you guys probably would assist with the younger kids even, right?
Exactly.
Coming up? Because I've seen some pictures of Marcio and you guys and those kinds of pictures.
When I transitioned to Gracie Barra, because I got my blue belt with 15 years old, so Marcinho is still a green belt. I remember the first day I went to Gracie Barra to training. No, I'm sorry. I went, because once I started training in Gracie Barra, it was Jean Jaques, Machado, and Carlinho was the instructors. Zé Beleza, the kids class. At some point, Jean Jaques left to teach his own place, but still Gracie Barra, right? So we have two locations in Gracie Barra. Once I left Pitoco to train in Gracie Barra, I went training Jean Jaques Machado. So the Culino, all the Gordo, all those guys, they were training under Carlinhos. Under Jean Jaques Machado. So they went to Jean Jaques to train. When Jean Jaques left to Brazil,
US.
From Brazil to US, then everybody went training Carlinhos. Okay. And that's the first time I met Marcinho, because Marcinho was a green belt, and I remember went there to training. And I was a blue belt, he was a green belt to training, that kind of stuff. But he was a green belt.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. History.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long time.
And Sonequinha,
so like the higher belts in the Gracie Barra, when I start training over there, because what happens, we have Higan, if you're going back, we got the higher.
I talked to Higan last week. I was telling you, I didn't know he was Carlos Gracie Jr.'s first black belt.
So
black belt.
Yeah, Higan's always the guy, right? When I start training, Higan's already left to the US, right? I met Higan every year. He come to Gracie Barra to visit, to training, showing us wrestling. Yeah. He was the first guy I see playing axe guard. Higan was amazing, man, amazing, And then so Higan left to US, and then you have the Carlos left. So all the higher belts from Gracie Barra was the Machado brothers. Some point they left, and then you have Renzo Gracie. Renzo some point left. So all those guys started laughing to US. So then you have the higher belts we have in Gracie Barra. It was Gordo, Sonequinha. Gordo was, when they started training Gracie Barra, Gordo was a brown belt. Sonequinha was a brown belt. And then you have the Culino Soca as a purple belt.
Yeah.
So we have those guys as a higher belt there. Ralph Gracie was a brown belt too. And then once Jean Jaques left, everybody went to train in Gracie Barra with Carlos Gracie. of course, Renzo and Ralph, they still training with Carlos. So they're already there. And then at some point, I got my purple belt when I was 17. And the same day I got my purple belt, Ralph was promoted to black belt. Gordo to black belt. Sonequinha, I don't think so. It was Sérgio Inácio to a black belt. Jucão was another one to a black belt. And then Draculino, Soca, I'm not sure it's Soneca. They will promote the brown belt. So that was like...
Yeah. Man, when I remember the first time, I think it was 96, yeah. And the room, such a, like, I mean, it was the golden era, I think, of the team, you know.
Yes.
Like Roleta guard, Tinguinha with the spider, and Soca, spider guard, Draculino 2, butterfly guards, Gordo half guard, Gordinho with close guard, like all these, like such a complete game, guys with judo, Nino style, you know, like his own world, you know.
Yes.
So man, amazing, you know, amazing. And I was just like a kid in the candy store, but just my mind was blown, you know.
I wish I couldn't go in the past and somebody would whisper in my ear like, just pay attention because this moment here is very special. I didn't know it was that special. Yeah. Right? We just live in the moment. Once I look back, it was amazing. You know what we have in the room, like, you know, and Renzo
fighting also, like later fighting.
Yeah, everything. You know, everything happened. That was a special moment, not just in Gracie Barra, but in jiu-jitsu, right? Jiu-jitsu time. That was like. Everything started happening, right? The evolution, the open guard, the half guard, go to the half guard. Everything was happening. The first world championship, Pan American, right? The whole thing is started.
Amazing.
Right? The team is getting bigger, so it was amazing.
What do you think caused that evolution and that creativity in Gracie Barra back in those days?
I think, you know, like the Gracie Barra, you know, like. First, Jean Jaques because Jean Jaques was the main instructor for a long time, right? Carlinhos was still in Gracie Barra, but he was spending a lot of time in Teresópolis. So Jean Jaques was the main guy teaching, and he had those group of the kids that started a long time ago, right? He has those people on his hand to train and prepare for a long time. So when he left, Carlinhos he came with the mind and created an environment, an amazing environment. And the two things I believe it was special for Carlinhos, and he took advantage of that. It was first the maturity he has in his hands, right? We have a group of people, you know, and that's
majority of the guys, you said?
Yeah, the majority of the guys, yeah.
Mature or majority?
No, majority.
Majority of the guys, yeah.
The majority of the guys were there for the passions, right?
The passion, yeah.
We were there, like, you know, I was talking the other day with some people, like, there was no, you know, we weren't training for be a world champion because there was no world championship.
Right.
We're not training to be a Pan American champion. We were just training because we love it and we want to test. Like, I think the best way to people understand it was a tribe, right? Like we live in a tribe, and we have our people to train it. We know it's a different tribes, Carlos Gracie,
right?
You know, Jacaré School, back to Alliance, right? Nova União, and we train it just to someday we're gonna fight in some small tournament. We have to prove we're the best, and sometimes we're gonna have some challenge from the Luta Livre guys, so we're gonna be ready, right? So. That was just that moment. We want to train it. There was nothing, you know, like there's no magazine, there's no TV, there's nothing. It was just pure passion, and we train it because we love, right? So Carlinhos, he has on his hands at the same time, he wants to build on the tournament, right? He was the president of you know, I saw the beginning of it started as it was just a small tournament in Barra, right? That's what he created.
Right.
A small tournament in Barra, so you can have some small schools from there. The Brazilian Confederation, and then international, right? So,
which was a big deal just to have a federation, right?
Exactly.
Like that confederation.
Yeah, exactly. So he wants to build on that, and at the same time, he wants his school to be the number one. So then we have the environment, right? He makes sure he keep the environment a competition environment. And the rest is history, right? We just training, and he come in, and just, you know, let's get ready, let's train, let's push, and that was it.
Yeah. Man, it's so crazy. Like, you know, like years later going to Orlando and these, you know, here in Long Beach or Irvine, and everything's so scheduled, so organized, you know, with the weigh-ins before your match. But back then it was the day before, and we go to Carlinhos, you know, Carlinhos' house.
Yeah.
And they would weigh you, and the brackets would be on the wall.
Exactly.
And he would be there, like, trying to create the peace with all the different teams,
Yes.
the Novuniaos and
so
everybody in his business.
Yeah, so people understand how to have a picture, right? So we have the tournament. It's coming. The first national, right?
The Brazilian nationals, yeah.
Carlinhos Federation or Confederation, it was inside his house, right? So the Gracie Barra.
His garage, right?
Ryan's garage is the Gracie Barra. So the waiting is a day before.
His house was next door to the gym.
Next door to the gym.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, and so they had the waiting is before. So we have hundreds and hundreds of people lined up and from different schools where the time. I think they had a situation one time. Gordinho was fighting with somebody from Carlos Gracie. I think it was Marcel. So we have fights because people line up to wait in, and
hungry.
Bunch of men with no shirts, right?
Yeah.
And you know, and Carlinhos' wife, she's so mad, you know, like with the whole situation.
Mess.
And we are there, right? Like, and then. Yeah, man, it's crazy.
Aggressive animals, like,
exactly,
in the street, right?
Exactly.
Like lining up in the street.
Lining up in the street, yes.
To fight each other. What about the neighbors?
Yes.
What about the neighbors,
no,
right?
It was a mess. But that's when you look back and see how the vision Carlinhos has, right? He put his stuff inside his house and all this stuff happened. And it was a step by step, right? It was a long process. We know, you know, I went to some tournaments 8 a.m. and I fought at 8 p.m.
Right, yeah.
Right? And at the end of the day, we have a small medal, real small.
Like a Cracker Jack box medal. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. No, we were there just to fight.
Yeah.
And slowly we moving forward, and we are here now. So it was great.
Yeah. I was gonna say you went to Japan later on, but before that, like just saw the first PANS, the first international tournament. Do you remember? Were you there at the 96?
Yes, it was 1995 in Irvine. It was here.
Irvine.
Yeah, I was a purple belt my first tournament.
In 96 was it 96? 96 was it was in LA. At like a high school gym or something.
Exactly. Yes. So 1995. So everything went fast, right? Because the first official national, I think, was 1993. 1994, I think the first world championship was 1995, right?
95. So the third one was 98, 97, 96, I think. First world championship, yeah.
So we have the first national in 1994, 93, 94, maybe 94.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year we have Pan American, 95. And then the next year we have the world championship, right? So everything was like
happening
fast, yeah. And Carlinhos was just pushing through, and you know, with training, you know, we have to find a sponsor to come to America. It was a very special moment, but it was nice. It was nice.
Yeah, I remember my first memory of just kind of seeing the whole the culture. You know, that real culture is it was a hotel in was it not Redondo Beach, but by the airport.
Yes.
And geese all over the hotels.
Yes.
And guys with no necks, or they had the tight neck T-shirts.
Exactly.
Guys walking in the Speedos, and I remember the people at the hotel were stressed out of their minds.
Because you know, think about it, right? It's a bunch of young guys, you know, like and a lot of times I say this, you know, because a lot of people know Brazilians jiu-jitsu, right? And they're like, oh, the Brazilians, they think this way, they're doing that kind of stuff. Like, no, you guys know Brazilians from jiu-jitsu. It's a tribe, right? They think different, they're doing stuff different. So, you know, a bunch of young guys. I like to use the example. You know, imagine nobody know nothing about America.
Right.
And the first people from America arrive in Brazil is the fighters, right? Bunch of crazy guys, the fighters, right? Fighters are different people. So that's what happened. You know, we put a bunch of young guys, fighters inside the plane and go to the U.S. You know, we just come in You know, it was crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of crazy story happened.
Yeah. In the late 90s too, there was probably before that, but they had a big campaign in the city of Rio that jiu-jitsu is not violence. Right, they had like events on the beach and like those kinds of things because jiu-jitsu guys would learn some techniques and they would put a bad name right on jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it's what happens. I think the best way to people understand, it's kind of like when I moved here in 2000, and I saw a lot of people talk bad about MMA. Right, I think once the UFC step in and start marketing the right way, that kind of changed. But before, I think jiu-jitsu, there was a lot of related to Vale Tudo, right? So a lot of people and the Vale Tudo, it's just like MMA now, right?
Right.
But every time you have Vale Tudo fights, we have people from all the different martial arts. But jiu-jitsu, the name always come up because it was the guys who was winning, was most of the time it was jiu-jitsu guys. So you already have a bad reputation from the MMA. So people see, people don't understand. Right. They see this very violent, very, bad, right? So then we got a bunch of guys, like in Brazil, it's, young people in nightclubs, you're going to have a fight, right? If you have drink, you're going to have a fight. And that happens everywhere, right? But
guys are skilled,
yes, like and then we have some guys from jiu-jitsu there, they fight, right? But it wasn't not the
problem is there's guys that don't know jiu-jitsu.
Exactly. And then sometimes you have people like, like a lawyer had a fight and he's a white belt in jiu-jitsu. So the media is gonna say a jiu-jitsu fighter, like, who's this guy? When you look at he's a white belt. Why you don't say the lawyer had a fight, right? So, but and somehow it's coming the news talk about the fighters are fighting, right? So and it become real bad. So jiu-jitsu means bad boys. That was the come up, right? So we have to, really work hard to change that image. Showing to people there's no violence. The real fighters is doing competition, that kind of stuff. So it took some time to change that, but that happened in Brazil, and I kind of saw it happen here in the US, but it was related more to MMA.
Right.
Right, and
because they took the UFC off of TV.
Exactly, right. They couldn't a lot of people pushing back, that kind of stuff. Once the UFC stepped in and marketing the right way,
Zuffa came in.
Exactly, Zuffa came in, and the kind of people understand. Oh, okay, those are fighters, professional, that kind of stuff. So we went in the same way in Brazil. Yeah, we passed through the same problems there.
Yeah,
but people was fighting, yes, but young guys, jiu-jitsu guys, no jiu-jitsu guys, that kind of stuff.
Right.
But the news was coming like, there's a fight, there's a jiu-jitsu guy.
Media, right?
Media
again. Media spins it whatever they want to spin it.
Exactly.
Yeah, but there's so many great benefits, right? Even back then and those times. I mean, I think when I think of myself, like it was kind of like a Fight Club, yeah. Those times, yeah. Like only the strong survive. There was no like. It's nice now because we still can have that, but there's a better culture, yeah, for etiquette, like bowing and those kinds of things.
Yes, it was, it's evolution, right?
Right.
We were training for fighting, right? To get ready for situations, stuff like that. The instructors, they were new too, right? Like everybody was learning, right? So the majority of people was just to survive a state, training hard, and get ready for fight.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that same culture, the Brazilian culture, where it was like the Fight Club culture that was there at the beginning in the 90s, I remember when I went to Japan like years later, like the guys, the Japanese usually like the etiquette is very like a proper, but in the jiu-jitsu gym it wasn't like that, It was like a Brazilian style, And so I was like, what? It's crazy. Yeah. But you also went to Japan, right?
Yeah, I went to Japan too, but just
you lived there for a little bit,
for 2 months. Yeah,
oh,
for 2 months.
Okay.
It was a great experience. But just going back to that, because jiu-jitsu came from Japan to Brazil, right?
Right.
But went, the Japanese very respectful, the bow, all that kind of stuff. Once we went to jiu-jitsu to the Gracie family, they did a great job. But as far as the organization, it was more like the Brazilian way, right? You live in Brazil.
Yeah.
So we kind of like adapt for the Brazilian way, and it was small, right? The environment was small. People, doing the way. Once it started getting bigger, people start getting more organized, they understand more. So that was kind of the transition. But yeah, talk about Japan. It was 1997. So what happens? 1996, I got my black belt. Blue belt is a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I got my black belt, and I always spend a lot of time with Carlinhos, right? And Carlinhos always has this vision to expand the Gracie Barra, right? We want to get, I want to have many Gracie Barras. A lot of people teach it, that kind of stuff. So I was one of the first guy get out from Rio to teach outside from Rio for Gracie Barra. So I went to São Paulo, and the city is São José do Rio Preto. It's a small city in São Paulo, and I started teaching there for
Ribeiro, what city?
São José do Rio Preto.
Okay.
Rio Preto. There's another city right on the side. It's called Ribeirão Preto.
Renato Menglacci is from
Yes,
there, right?
exactly. And the Gordo was the teaching over there too. Yeah. So I went to São José. So he has this plan, right? So I was a black belt. So like, Tinguinha, I'm gonna send you there to start the Gracie Barra school. So I went there for 8 months. Started the Gracie Barra school. When the school started working well, I went back. So I went back, started teaching, training, doing competition, and then there's an opportunity came to open a Gracie Barra in Japan. So there was a guy there. He wants to open Gracie Barra, and he need to start. So me and Master went there, and we lived there for 2 months. Stayed there for 2 months. Start, teaching classes, teach the guy how to teach the class. The guy was a brown belt once he got there, and we started Gracie Barra there. In Tokyo, Japan. So that was amazing experience. It was the first time, I leave because I have the chance to travel to competition, but the first time because I was living in Tokyo City, so not as a tourist, but working every day and doing that kind of stuff.
How old were you when you moved to Japan?
I was 21.
21, wow.
Yeah.
So what did your parents do, and what did they think about you doing this jiu-jitsu stuff?
So as I remember, I think it was the first official Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school, because they have jiu-jitsus over there, but not like a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school. So we have a lot of media coming, a lot of people coming, like
in Japan.
Yeah, to the school. And the Japanese are always amazing. Like, always amazing to see how the respect there was, right? We have people to challenge us, but in a very respectful way. We got I remember one time I was teaching class, and Marcinho his finger was broken because we were training the other day, and something happened. And he was just watching the class. So his teacher's like, look over there. And I look, it was 2 guys sitting, like big ears, like very strong, just look, but very respectful. I was like, well, the guy speaks Japanese when I talk to them, like they want to hear, they want to train, test. And it was 2 Olympic wrestlers. I was like, oh my God. Oh, that's great.
You guys had to fight against everybody,
exactly,
right?
And they're like, but they come very respectful.
Right.
And I say, all right, but just put the gi on then.
Get so the gi,
So the gi was but they come like very respectful. So the student, I was very amazing how the details, they pay attention for details, right? They want to know angles, details, that kind of stuff. So it was an amazing experience. 99% of the students were white belt. We have a lot of visits, right? People from other stuff. A lot of media come in, news, stuff like that. But that was
some of the articles from back in those days. Did you save some?
Yes, I still have. Yeah,
cool
I have a lot.
Cool memories,
from TV, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and we did a lot of. We did a DVD over there for techniques. We did, those TV shows. They come in and when you're doing self-defense technique, people challenge us. It was fun. It was real fun. It was nice.
I asked you before, what did your parents think about you going down this jiu-jitsu path? You're 21, going to Japan. That's cool, but what did they think about this?
Yeah, so
going to open a school in another city and just being so immersed into this lifestyle. Yeah, so when I was 21, it was already this is already over. Those conversations was already over, because I made my decision when I was 17. So for people understand, there's no career in
1993. That's the year I got my purple belt. There was no career in jiu-jitsu.
Right. Yeah.
There's no, there's no nothing.
There's nothing, yeah.
The only people who will be able to live for that was some of the Gracies, right?
Maybe, right?
Maybe, yeah. Right? Just a few of the Gracies will be able to live from jiu-jitsu, right? So I remember the day I got my purple belt, the day I was talking about Gordo got the black belt, half. The day I got my purple belt at 17, I went to Gordo, and hey, Gordo, I want to talk to you. And Gordo like, man, how was your life? Gordo was teaching jiu-jitsu. That was he's doing for a living, right?
Yeah.
How was your life doing jiu-jitsu? Like, he look at me like, yeah, I have money to buy my food and do some stuff. Yeah. And like, that's what he told me. Like, I said, all right, I want to do this, right? But talk to my parents about this.
Living at home.
Yeah. And I make my decision that I was 17 years old, right? And they thought I was joking, right? Like, no, it's like,
because in Brazil, like, you live at home, with your family. Exactly. The families are much like different than the U.S. I think a little bit.
Yes. So I made my decision when I was 17, but of course, as a young, person, like, I'm not thinking about future, right? Like, what I'm gonna do this future, but my passion was so strong.
Yeah.
And I made a decision. Of course, I talked to my parents. They just think it's a joke, right?
Yeah.
They're not like, all right, you keep doing what you're doing, stay in school, and and then you change your mind, right? But I never changed my mind. I keep going, and I don't think nobody back the time, maybe Carlos Gracie Jr. Nobody thought about the jiu-jitsu gonna get so big, right? If all life I say, yeah, I knew the whole world gonna be training jiu-jitsu. I knew people were gonna make money, teaching jiu-jitsu and fighting tournaments and doing this and that. It's just, I think start involved and keep going.
You followed your heart. You followed your heart.
I just followed my heart. Yeah, it's my passion. Yeah. That was it.
Yeah. I mean, I can only relate, but me going to Brazil, like, you're crazy. What are you doing? Like, nobody knew what jiu-jitsu was back when I came back, unless they watched those early UFCs. But otherwise, they had no idea. People knew what karate was and taekwondo. Even like Grant, who came in later, he was at the taekwondo school, but nobody knew what Brazilian jiu-jitsu was.
Yes.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah. But I believed, and I was so we were crazy about it that
it has to be some crazy, because
I have to be crazy.
Living here 20 years in the US, understand how the thing works over here. I was thinking about this, how crazy it must be for you from the US going over there and then going to a tribe, just jiu-jitsu, right? Just because for people understand, the jiu-jitsu is coming in Brazil from the Gracie family. So the Gracie family has nothing to do with the traditional Brazilian family. Right? So the way they think, the way they do stuff is different. So all the students, all the culture they created was from the Gracie family. So that's something different, right? So for you going over there and see a bunch of crazy guys training, and that tribe must be very crazy. Yeah. And Brazil is very dangerous. As I'm living here now for 20 years, and I look, wow, I didn't know it's that dangerous. I thought the whole world was like this. You're going from nightclubs at night, some stuff, there's a chance sometimes people die. Yeah. Right? Some crazy stuff happen, people die. Right?
What's crazy is I went as a teenager, saved up my money and I came, I didn't ask for permission to anybody. But it was because of Amal, Amal was crazier than me. But his parents were hippies, when he was a baby or a little kid, they lived in a teepee in the country,
Okay.
And then I just talked to him last week.
But for you, how was that? Like, did you what I'm doing here? Oh my God!
Man, so many days, days I questioned, and we lived in this in the Lagoa, like Ilha de Jugoia.
Yeah.
So it was like paradise, really.
Yeah.
We lived in this old house, but it was like paradise. Like I wake up and have a view of the lagoon.
Yes.
And palm trees and just it's like paradise, really. Yeah. And but I'm like, what am I doing here? You crazy. And so I would question. I would wake up, maybe not every day, but pretty close, Yeah. But I just followed my heart. I followed my instinct. Yeah. And I worked really hard. I tried to do my best, with what I knew. Yeah. But what helped me was I read that book, Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill,
All right.
So I wrote down my goals of what I wanted to be and to do. Okay. To be one of the best, and the place to go was Brazil.
Yeah.
So
that
helped me stay focused.
That was amazing. What you guys did, man, was amazing. I remember the first time I see you and Amal, and I remember you just quiet, look.
Yeah, I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, teenager, little skinny teenager.
Bunch of Brazilians talk, wow.
Yeah.
And you just
I didn't speak any Portuguese.
Yeah, I know. You just look, I remember. I have that vision looking, and I'm like, who's this gringo? Oh my God. Right?
Man.
Yeah.
But I soaked it in, I soaked it in. So even just talking to you now, man, it's like, it's so cool, you know. It's such an honor to see you guys living here now. Just just seeing it continue,
Yeah.
and spreading
Yes.
that energy that was in that room, right?
Yeah.
All those years ago.
That you just said about something very special, man. That energy, right?
Man,
it's something. It's hard to describe, but like we talk about passion again, right? Because a bunch of crazy guys training with no hope.
Yeah.
Like what? Because outside of the jiu-jitsu, I have friends.
Right.
I have family. Like people say, like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Right? Because our faces mark all this stuff, and because
marks all over the face, black eyes.
Oh, you want to be a fighter, a martial art? Go train in Brazil judo, right? Like you can go to the Olympic, you go to stuff. Like, what are you doing? Like this, we don't know.
There's no future.
There's no future there. There's nothing, right? So yeah, for you it's a different level, right? Right.
But now you look at like where jiu-jitsu is compared to judo and Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and jiu-jitsu is just like exploded, right?
Yes.
All over the world.
Exactly. And judo,
every corner of the world.
And I'm doing this for so long, right? Because you talk about you came here, people don't know what jiu-jitsu. Like when I went to São Paulo, a lot of people didn't know what jiu-jitsu is. So it's still like from people from my family, I have to explain to them what do you do, like what is this? I have to judo, then everybody understand. And judo, we in the beginning, right? A lot of those guys, judo guys, they didn't accept us really well. But that's funny, once the jiu-jitsu is getting very popular, a lot of judo guys become a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Right. Oh yeah, I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I did jiu-jitsu too. But there were a lot of pushback from judo in the beginning, right? And now the things change, right?
Yeah. Now everybody. I mean, look at the judo guys are doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
depending on the school, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now a lot of things change, and
Travis Stevens in the last Olympics, and so many others too, right?
Exactly. In Brazil too, right? Got the guy Flávio Canto.
Yeah.
He went to the Olympics, and all his style was on the ground.
Yeah. And so I want to go back. You moved to. What made you move to the U.S.? Like the Fernandinho. He got you to come over.
Yes. So
and then you helped him go back to that.
So
and then you end up staying.
Yeah. So I make the decision to teach jiu-jitsu as a purple belt, right? As a young, without thinking any.
That was the first time coming to the U.S.
No. It was a purple belt when I make the decision to be a instructor, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But just going back a little bit on that, then as I'm getting older, I start looking around like, wow, it's gonna be hard to make money here.
Yeah.
So I knew if I want to make the leave of this, I have to leave. So I always knew I'm gonna leave. I have to leave from Brazil. I have to, right? Yeah. That was if you want to make that happen, you have to do this, right? So I always have this on my mind, very young age. One day I'm gonna leave. And so I was always doing competition all the time. So my game, my training was for competition. So I train in the morning and night, teaching class, right? Back the time, there's no. Some people today just train jiu-jitsu for competition. Everybody from my generation, we train and teach because we have to make a little bit of money here and there. There's no sponsors. Sponsor give you one gi maybe, right? So we have.
Wasn't like now with all these events that pay money out, right?
Exactly. No. Yeah. You have to teach. You have to be a instructor first. So I started teaching as a purple belt, but. So I always have that on my mind. So I got my black belt in '96. So my goal was fighting tournaments as much as I can, transition to MMA, doing some MMA fights. Yeah. But I want to be an MMA fighter, but I want to do some fights, right? Just to test, maybe 5 fights, just that kind of stuff. So I was doing competition, all this stuff. So I was getting the time I'm going to do the transition now for the MMA because on my time, and once you train jiu-jitsu, you get the black belt first, and then you go for the MMA. Right. That's
like the way I did it, yeah.
This changing now, right? But you're like, man, become a black belt first, get to the professional level, then he transitioned for that. So then in 2000, I have a call from Fernandinho. I wasn't planning to go yet.
In 2000.
In 2000, he called me and, invite me, and I was thinking about. So my plan was to come in, spend some time with him, learning English, and go back and just to see how the stuff went. But I came in, start teaching, stay with Fernandinho one year. Then he closed his school. The reason I left Fernandinho because I was helping Fernandinho in school. He closed his school because Fernandinho started doing the transition for MMA too.
So
he went
started trading with Rico Chaparelli, right?
with Rico Chaparelli, right? So he transitioned from that place, and he started teaching jiu-jitsu over there and train over there. So I went there with him, helping stuff like that.
Bit, yeah.
But then it was different, right? Because inside the MMA gym. So then I moved to Orange County, start teaching, and then start. What
was the process starting your gym, or how did you find location?
So it was a long process because once I moved because I was in Hermosa Beach.
Because we had no help, we had no guidance, so it was like
0-0,
yeah, it was like right.
Yeah,
nobody was doing it.
Exactly.
Where you can make a living from it.
Yes, it was a long process. And a lonely process because I was
process.
Because I was trying to find information like how because my mind was to open school. I just need to math and teach class.
Right.
And looking back to the business side, it's you gotta all the organization, all the the systems in place, the operation side. So all of the kind of stuff. So I'm trying to looking, and but this is so unique, right? It has to be a specific for this, right? So I have to learn on my own, right? So when I moved to Orange County, I was teaching jiu-jitsu. First I started teaching jiu-jitsu in the Taekwondo school. Yeah, Taekwondo school. So I was sharing, pace and range, doing kind of stuff, kind of building my students from that. Once I have around 30 students, then I went to a small place, very small.
Yeah.
Then I moved from that place to the front door. I was a 600 square feet. Then I moved to 1,500. Then I moved to 3,000.
In a warehouse.
Yes.
600 square feet to 1,500 square house. You had to know the address and find it, and probably not even signage at the front.
Nothing. It was just
you had to know.
Yeah. So I have to build it step by step, learning, how to run the business. But funny thing was, I still
people have no idea, the things, the trials and tribulations that happened,
Exactly.
For people in that era.
Exactly.
It was before the Ultimate Fighter, years before the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah. It was 2002.
Right.
When I moved to that location there. And then going step by step, make sure you're learning the process. It was a long process. Because I was inside Fernandinho, was represent the Machado brothers, right?
You're right.
So I was on Fernandinho. So once I moved into Orange County, so I was Gracie Barra, Orange County.
Right.
That was my school.
Right.
Then at some point, I have some disagreement with Carlinhos, and then I opened my own school. So in 2002, 2003, I was official Tinguinha BJJ Academy.
Yeah, I had Grant that moved out there, and then it was a mess, I was Gracie Baja, and then all of a sudden, it was from the heart. It was like since you're a kid representing the school, and your best friend, and so many. We don't have to even talk about it. It's
fine.
It's water under the bridge at this point.
Exactly.
But you were like crushed, right? Crushed, it was emotionally and everything.
Yeah,
mainly with that,
So what happened was, once I have my own place. So I was Gracie Barra, and the name of the place is Gracie Barra, Orange County.
Orange County, yeah.
So
I remember that the logo on the wall.
Exactly. It was a triangle, and it was yellow.
Orange
it wasn't
County.
red. Orange County. So I was doing the Gracie Barra, Orange County. Still have direct contact with Carlinhos.
Yeah, of course.
Márcio Feitosa is for people who don't know, was one of the main guys from Gracie Barra, and we grew up together.
He's like your best friend.
Yes, and he was the
godfather
of my daughter. So what happens? My school. So I was on the small school, right? Very small, 600 square feet. Start building.
Yeah.
That's I started with 30 students. So probably I will start building to 70, 80 students. But majority of my students are coming from Lake Forest.
Lake Forest.
Like I would say 70% of my students. So back the time I have a Brazilian friend, Guto. His name was Guto, yeah, from South Brazil. So he was a brown belt. Started helping to teach the class. My class is getting bigger, and I started to decide, look, I have so many students coming from that location, you know, and Lake Forest is probably like 30 minutes from Anaheim when I was. I always think about, I need to open school over there, or somebody's going to open school there. I'm going to lose those people, right? So the goal is I'm going to open another location there, and I leave good to here, and I can start building over there. So during that transition, Marcio and Carlos came to U.S. For the Pan American, right? So they came to the Pan American, and Marcinho did a seminar at my school. So they came to visit, right? So we're on the car, and Higgins kind of part of the story too. It's kind of sad. So they came, Carlinhos, Marcinhos, and the guy who was supposed to open school then, it's called James Lu. That was
He was the Howard.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Howard Hugh Kimono.
And he was Higgins' partner for his school. So they came to my school to visit. We were there. Marcinho did a seminar. We were in the car driving to eat. So this guy was asking me questions. I don't know who this guy is, right? I know he's Higgins' partner. How's your business, all that stuff. And I'm just telling him, like, yeah, I'm going to open school in Lake Forest. Why? Because this. So I was just telling
honest,
him.
Yeah,
honest,
trusting,
just saying.
yeah.
And, Marcinho was driving. Carlinhos on the side. We all talk. So they came in. Pan America came. They left. So I'm set up the place. I'm still like close the deal to find like 2 or 3 months pass. One of my students, by the way, the student was Vince, a bear from
Bear.
Vince called me. Oh, congratulations. I said, congratulations for what? Oh, I saw the school is gonna open, Gracie Barra, Lake Forest. I'm like, no, man, I'm not gonna. I haven't closed the deal, nothing yet. Go take a look. I look, and Gracie Barra School is open, Lake Forest in a week.
In a week.
And I look, and like, main instructors, Carlos Gracie and Master Carlos. I was like, oh my God. I can't believe. And I called them, right? Like, what's going on? You know, like the beginning was, it's a misunderstood. Like I said, there's no misunderstood. Like I told you to the guy. You know, then they like say, yeah, you know, the guy he heard what he said. He wants to open over there, but they didn't say nothing to me, right? And tell the truth, you know, I'm kind of the guy. They know this. If they came to me and say, look, we need your help. We need to open school, because they came with the mindset to find a place to open school. I didn't know this. They didn't talk about it. Whatever reason, they didn't say nothing to me. I will be the first. Look, there's a place over there I'm supposed to open. Go over there.
No problem.
But they didn't say nothing to me, and all that kind of stuff happened. You know, I kind of like step back and say, look,
stabbed your back.
Yeah, step back, and it's just like
you felt betrayed.
And all right, man, just go doing your thing, you know, and I go doing my own thing here, and we split away, and that was my split from Gracie Barra.
Yeah. I mean, because Grant was one of my students that I had moved out. He moved out to Southern California, Orange County.
Yes.
And he trained with you. And Bear, I remember I would go visit you. You were like the first person with the white mats that I ever saw.
I was the first one.
First guy,
And
give me credit, right?
the reason I have the white mats, because my place was so small. And they're like,
to make it look bigger.
So to make it look bigger. That was the reason. Because everybody made white mats, no. And then I did that. I love it.
Yeah.
Right? But the main reason, like, man, this place is too small. And I need
so
to make it look bigger.
You had good guys back then. I was Bear. I remember training with Bear, and he was like, I remember you
came.
I came a few times when I would go compete in Japan. I would stop and train with you. And visit Grant, of course, too.
And I remember Grant told me, like, because. And I was in a real bad situation because, I was the Gracie Barra guy. I was not just some guy,
you
right?
Had tattoos. Your guys had Gracie Barra tattoos,
exactly, right? So I never thought about to promote my name, to have my, if you think about business, right? I was my idea was just situation. Like, I'm gonna represent Gracie Barra. So now all the situation happened. This school is gonna open right on that city. And what I want to say now, I'm going to say to the guys, I have to tell the truth. Say, look, good, guys, this is a situation happened, right? I have nothing bad to say about the guys because, it is what it is. And I'm going to have my own thing here and go. And then I remember Grant told me, like, I call Alberto. because Gracie has to drive by past Lake Forest to go to my school.
Your school was in Yorba Linda?
No, my school is in Anaheim.
Anaheim. Yeah, so we had to drive. Was like a Dana Point or something.
Yeah, so he passed by the Lake Forest.
Yeah,
right?
it was like an hour away.
And all my students know those guys because they're in my school, right? So and Gracie told me like, yeah, I called Alberto like, hey, what are they gonna do? Because they're gonna open school there. I gotta drive by, and then Gracie said like, Alberto, go train in Tinguinha. Stay with Tinguinha. So
do the right thing. He was your professor.
Thank you.
And that's the right thing, you know. Because it was 1 hour or whatever to drive or whatever it was,
exactly.
And then an hour back. But you know he didn't have kids, he didn't have responsibilities, he could do it, and then the other one was like a few minutes away. But do the right thing is to do that, you know.
Yeah, and he did.
He got his black belt from you, and now he has his own school in that same area.
Exactly, same area. Yeah.
Tinguinha.
And the funny thing, that school they opened over there was open for 8 months. And then they have a follow up with the James Blue guy. They closed. They have to open. It was a lot of drama happened.
Yeah.
But I was happy to I'm glad I'm not part of all the situation. But we're good. I make my decision, and looking back, it was good decision, right? Like. It was good for me. I have my own school.
Make you grow a lot.
Exactly. Yeah, I learned a lot. All my friends from Gracie Barra.
You did everything the right way. With honor.
They call
and
me. They talk. We still talk. And after that, I don't know. Like I would say, 90% of the people from my time, everybody left. Everybody has their own reasons. So but I'll probably was the first one. The first one left, right?
Yeah. From the inner circle, because it was a tribe,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you have Nino, Soca, Gordo, Gordinho, Sonequinha,
everybody.
I think
really Draculino's the only one, no?
Draculino is the only one, right? Only one. But we still, but everybody,
even Draculino, we're all brothers.
Yes.
And all the guys from the old team and the
I know that before training jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. It's
how
amazing,
crazy is, right?
But
like,
he is such a good character. He's the real guy, the real person.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then you got involved with the UFC gym. You became like the head coach for, doing that for many years, right?
Yes, for 10 years.
10 years. Wow.
10 years. That's crazy.
Time goes by like that.
That was it was a great experience, man. Like I learned a lot. We building something very special there. So that was it. So
you were the head coach for all of the UFC gyms.
So how they started the UFC gym was like, they opened one UFC gym in up north, and Crispin was that teaching.
Crispin.
Yeah. And then they opened, I think 1 year passed, they opened the second one in Los Angeles, in Rosemead.
Yeah.
That's when Crispin called me. Hey, they're going to open a UFC gym. I didn't know nothing about the UFC gym. When they said about something UFC, I thought it was something about MMA. Like, no. I'm teaching my jiu-jitsu class here. Nothing to do with MMA. It's like, call the guy and check. And then I called the guy. I went there. And then when I looked at the place, it was a building, right? Just like a 24-hour gym, a big 24-hour gym, but with the mats, with space for martial arts plus the fitness, right? That's when I realized, I said, wow, this is going to be something real big, right? So then I sit down with the guy. We have some conversation. The guy was the general manager from the gym. And with the time, at some point, he became the president of the UFC gym. So I became very close to this guy. And pretty soon I realized this is going to be something real big. And my first thing coming to my mind was like, whatever is going to be teaching here, you're going to have a big responsibility, because I knew the UFC gym is going to bring a lot of attention for people training jiu-jitsu. So I want to make sure the people come in, they have the right experience, right? And as soon as I started working over there, I was the head instructor from that gym, because it was 2 gyms, Crispin up north over there. So we talk about a place where we have 6-7 classes per day, 6, 7, 8 instructors, because there's too many classes.
In Rosemead.
Yeah, it was me, original.
Because that was a big gym, right?
Big gym,
Huge
yeah. We
gym.
got class 6 a.m., class 8 a.m., 12.
Wow. And
then we have a kids class at night, and then an adult class. So we got about 5, 6, 7 classes per day. And the gym has, 4,000, 5,000 members. People train jiu-jitsu, between 200 and 500 people training jiu-jitsu, right? So this is something big. So as soon as I start working with that, first I have my team. I have one of my black belts sitting. I have 2 of my brown belts sitting. And we have maybe 2 purple belts from different schools. That's how we start, right? So once the gym start open, from 2 gyms, we went for 5. And then from 5, they went to 100 because...
From 2 to 5, from 5 to 100.
Yeah, because the jump to 100 was the 5. They were open. They open in Corona. Right. They open in Hawaii, right? Those are the corporation ones.
The big ones.
Yeah, the big ones. At some point, the UFC Gym, they bought a franchise from LA Boxing. So they already have a lot of gyms and they changed for the UFC Gym. So then now we have the corporation gyms, the franchise gyms, and then my position changed from head instructor for director for the UFC Gym. And the challenge was, now we have a problem because we don't have enough people to teach in class, right? When we have to have a qualified people. Right. And a lot of those gyms are running by the fitness, from the people who understand fitness but they don't understand martial arts. Yeah. So the challenge was they were hiring MMA fighters sometimes, not qualified to teach jiu-jitsu, that kind of stuff. So we have to really create a department just for jiu-jitsu. So that means we have to make sure the people qualify, they have the belt, they have to go instructor program. So, and then from those 100, they went international, and then the thing went crazy, right? So we have to really have a really structured certification training process, a bunch of stuff, right? And that was the 10 years, a lot of work. Wow. And we never be able to finish because it was too many gyms open, right? But the experience I have at the UFC Gym, then I met a lot of instructors because I know just the people from, I know you, I know Gordo, so I started seeing people from different schools, different stuff, and then we did something that never happened in martial art, because we have inside the gym sometimes 4 or 5 instructors from different schools, right? Because that doesn't happen, right? We have one school where everybody training the same instructor. Yeah. So that's when you have to have a program in place, and we will make sure you have the UFC Gym BJJ program, where we certify them on the International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation. Then they have to follow some rules, that kind of stuff. So we have to make sure everybody's alignment with moving in the same direction. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of challenge, but I learned a lot from a lot of those guys. We have a great team of black belts, because then I started as a head instructor, and then I moved to a director, and then by the end now I was a global director of the program, because that was the whole thing, right? So we have the assistant instructors, BJJ instructors, head instructors, regional directors, and then my position. That was kind of the way we will be able to involve. Yeah,
what made you get out? Or what?
So now it was because of COVID, right?
COVID, yeah, everything
all
stopped.
the UFC gyms were shut down.
Yeah.
The program is closed. Most of the UFC gyms,
the opposite of social distancing.
Exactly. and most of the UFC gyms, they are open, but there's just people outside, right? And the 10 years, it was about time too. The program is still alive, right? Once things go back, they have
the pieces are there.
Exactly, all the pieces there, and a lot of people training there. For 10 years, I think the higher belts we have from a white belt, it was a brown belt, and it was in Concord. It was the first school start.
Nice.
So we have some black belts, brown belts, purple belts, but a student from the UFC Gym in 10 years, the higher belts we had was a brown belt. Yeah. From white to brown, that was in Concord, right? But
that's great that you're able to, this is so hard, difficult, right? To be in a corporate situation like that.
A lot of challenge,
because it's not so, we're like a tribal, your gym and, lineage, and how does that work, so. That's really cool that you had that
because
opportunity.
you have sometimes you have a school from a black belt from Atos, one from Machado, one from Gracie Barra.
Right.
So we have to like look. There's no team here. Anyone's coming to teach here works for the UFC gym. You can still go in training in your school. You can still compete under your school, but all the students under the UFC gym. And once you teach here, you're under the UFC gym. So that way, because at the beginning we have those problems, right? The instructor in the morning, we are Gracie Barra school because the guy was a black belt from Gracie Barra.
Yeah.
At night, we are Ato school. So now we have 2 or 3 different schools inside one gym. It's not gonna work, right? So we have to change
take that away. Interesting, man. And I want to go back to like your competition time.
Okay.
And ask you what was your favorite match when you look back?
My favorite match. So I have I'm just thinking here. So I have a lot of fights to Leozinho, right? Leo Vieira. I did a tournament with him as a purple belt, brown and black belt, and he won most of the fights. I won a couple ones, but one match I lost, and it was a real good match. It was the final of the World Championship, the first one championship with a brown belt. So it was a good match. I lost by decision, but there was a lot of things happen. Right, I was on top, bottom.
It was your favorite? Yeah,
like it was a favorite memory because it was a real good one. Because what happens, we had a maybe 2 months before. It was a national championship, so I had a fight with him in the final, and I won. So it was a good match too. I won, and then 2 months passed. We did the final of the World Championship, so it was a lot of talking. A lot of people said I lost the national. And it was both by decision, right? And then the final on the World Championship, it was very intense. I'll put it this way, it was a very intense match, but I lost that one by decision, and but I think it was good. Looking back and all the stuff happened in the match before and after, so it was good.
You're proud of the moment because
exactly.
Like you felt like you got the respect and the
exactly. I did a mistake. Because what happened 2 months before I won the match, and there was a lot of talking, right? Oh yeah, he was holding, he was attacking more. I went. So what happens? On that tournament, I have my fights. All my fights all the way to the final. I have a real hard match.
Yeah.
And I won by points, but not by submission. So I have all matches real hard.
Yeah.
He went on the other side and tapped everybody. Right, but I got on the final, and his style was movement a lot, right? Yeah. But because I want to prove to him, like, all right, so I went real hard. So by the first 3, 4, 5 minutes, instead I slow down, start slow, finish strong, I was in motion.
Yeah.
So I went too hard, and by the end, and I think that's the reason I lost, because if I look back at the mat, and there was no advance advantage on that time, right? But if you look at all the stuff, but once there was just by decision, I think at the end of the match makes more like, looks by, your memory, if you reference the fight, you're not going to remember the first 3 minutes. You're going to remember the last 3 minutes. So by the end of the match, he was attacking more, and I was more tired, so I think that's the reason I lost it, man.
I see.
So I should be more professional.
That's cool. 25 years, but you have the memories still like so strong, because it meant so much to both you guys to do good. Yeah, crazy. Over 25 years. That's crazy, right? When you think about it. Man.
Crazy. Yeah.
What about your like worst memory, like in tournament, like a low point?
So it's not a low point because I learned a lot. But that was my first match as a purple belt. Because what happened, I was, I got my blue belt as a 15 years old, right? So I was fighting all my matches in the blue belt as a juvenile, 16, 17, right? So I got my purple belt. I was still 17 years old, so I went from blue belt juvenile to a purple belt adult, right? So different level.
Yeah.
For sure, all those purple belts are better than me. but it's not just that, but the power, right? Manpower. Still, you know, I was featherweight, so you know I didn't have the manpower. So my first tournament as a purple belt, so I was pretty much 2 years without losing mats, and just winning all the tournaments. So my first tournament as a purple belt, I got tapped in 40 seconds, 1 minute. The guy close guard. I tried to stand up on bar. So I was crying like a little kid, right? So, but I learned a lot from that mat.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it.
It's so funny, right?
Yeah.
Like we cry like not because our arm is hurt. Well, you know, it's hurt, but it's not about that.
No, it's not about that.
Like you're representing, letting people down,
Exactly,
like our pride, you know, our self-esteem.
Yes.
It's so crazy, you know. And it's so strong, those emotions still, huh? After
still,
all these years.
But
Amazing.
it's fun looking back. It's fun, you know.
Yeah. It makes you, right? It makes you.
Yeah, and the tournament for me, it was everything in my life, right? It's the most important thing. That's the reason I train. I want to get the first place. I want to do this. I want like that. That was.
If you lost, you feel like you die.
Exactly.
Kind of. Like all the energy.
It's like the end of the world, right?
The world.
Looking back now, like, oh my God.
You laugh.
Like it's over. Like, come on, man, right? That's yeah, that's what it is.
So you have affiliates all over. Like I see you have a guy in one of your students is in Alaska.
Alaska, yes.
But you have black belts everywhere now.
Yeah, I have most of all my affiliation schools is for my students, right? So students of they train, they got the black belt, and they went back to wherever the place they come from. Or they went to open school. So you have now 90 schools.
90?
Nine. And 90 schools. We have one in Alaska. I got 2 schools in Thailand.
Oh.
So one of my black belts, he moved to Thailand like maybe 10 years ago.
Wow.
And
what city?
Bangkok.
Okay.
Bangkok, yeah. So now, and then from there, we have another black belt from Thailand too. So
there's a Sonakia black belt.
Yeah, there's Sonakia black belt there. Yes.
As a BMAC or?
Yeah, I don't know his name, but last year I was there. It was last year, maybe. He came to the seminar. He's a nice guy. Yeah, he's still there. And then we have 4 schools here in California. Then you have one in Nebraska. We got Alaska, right? Alaska, it's one of the biggest schools. They have 500 students.
Wow.
Yeah.
What city is it in?
There's Anchorage.
Anchorage, okay.
Yeah. And those guys have been had a school for more than 10 years.
Wow.
And they've been with me for more than 10 years too. And they've been doing a great job. They opened the federation over there. They promote the tournaments. They're doing everything right. Kids, they have an MMA team. So it was real nice too.
Nice. What's the at the end of the day, what do you wanna, what's the legacy you wanna leave, like your students and just your work, your life's work, your kids, your family?
Yeah, it's like I just don't want to pass, like that's like I live my dream every day, right? Like going back when I was 17, that was I thought about I want to have my own school and I want to pass what I learned, all those moments I have in Brazil. Like all my friends I have from that time, they're still my friends, right? That's crazy, right? Like we still talk, we're still very close. Yeah. So that's what I have from Jiu-Jitsu. That's what I want to pass to my students, and this has already happened. Yeah. Because now I'm not just passing to my students, but my students doing the same thing.
Same thing,
right?
Same culture.
So I go to the Grant School, and I last year I saw him promoted a black belt for his first black belt. And the culture he has in his place, and the students, and then you see the same thing happen. So that's the legacy. We keep doing this, and hoping
the jiu-jitsu lifestyle, but the correct way, right?
Exactly,
the right way.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I say. I live my life, my dream every day, and it was first stage. It was my school. Now it's the students inside the school, right? I need to build them, right? Now they're getting higher belts, they're getting belts. They own an open school. That's helping to open the school, right? Looking back in business, right? Like today, I have a good understanding about business, but nothing was planned, like sit down and put on the paper. I want to have my school. This is what I need to do. Now we're going to have affiliate. And as the things involve, I start learning and learning as doing, right, with the mistakes and see what's good and what's bad. How can I fix this? How can I get better? Okay, I went through many problems on my school. So now that's what I'm very concentrated now to help in the affiliation schools, to give you all the information, the tools they can have to doing well and helping their own students and the business, that kind of stuff, right? So that's,
make it a little bit easier, right, than the things that you have to go through.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your example. Like I said, it's like you guys are my heroes. You're my hero.
Thank you.
Just the memories, like going, like the little skinny kid from America going into the Gracie school in Barra de Tijuca, and seeing you guys there. So like, it's amazing to see the evolution, the growth of the sport, to continue the relationships with all you guys, and to stay connected, after all these years.
Exactly.
Like, it's like the time doesn't affect anything.
Yeah.
All my friends too, as well. Like, I'm still connected with them after all these years.
Yeah.
So
We are a big family, we all connect, number one, from jiu-jitsu, but we have a bigger connection from schools, instructors, right? So we are this for life.
yeah,
right?
I'm living the dream too because of you and you guys.
No,
so.
Thank you, man. Thank you, and I have a much respect from to see what you did, right? Like I just told about, see you back in Brazil and being here now and understand, I understand better Brazil after I left Brazil, to understand, how the place works, how the end is over there, how the amazing things, how danger is, what is good, what is bad, and I can, it's very respectful to see what you and Amal did, and back that time to go there, learning, training, and go back here and start doing this. This is amazing, man. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, it's because of you guys, so thank you. Thank you.
Right.
How can people find out about Tinguinha and the website? And
my website is bjjoc.com.
Easy?
No, easy to.
Oh, it's the same. Okay.
Yeah, it's bjjoc.com.
bjjoc.com. Okay.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu
Orange
County, right?
County, yeah.
And social media, it's Mauricio Tinguinha. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome, man.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.